Hello children, welcome to the next stage of your online classes in which we will learn the very important topics which you have to cover up for the entire 7th standard, right? So we listen the classes in a very careful manner so that you can write the examination based on this contents alone in a very successful way. Come, let's move into the content first. So now totally I had planned to take 20 concepts for you. Very important concepts but easier only, don't worry. So in that first 10 we will learn now, right, in this part 1 video, right. So first, what are the different system of units? So in the very first lesson, measurement lesson, we have learned different quantities and units. Do you remember children? Right. So in that, how many system of units we learned? MKS system, which is otherwise called as SI system, right. Now, I request you to take your textbook in your hand along with your pencil. If you have, take your classworks also, right. So you can mark whatever you want, and along with that important notes if you want to take it in rough notebook, right. Right. So what are the three system of units? First one is MKS, CGS, FPS, and for you, for your class, two more systems are given in your book, right? What are the MKSA system and MKSC system? So what are their abbreviations? Meter, kilogram, second, right? So MKS system is otherwise called as SI system. What is SI? International System of Units. Remember children? Right. CGS. Centimeter for length, gram for mass, and second for time. And FPS, foot for length, pound for mass, second for time. Right. What does MKS say? Mass. What is the next? That is time, mass, and length. Length, mass, and time. And the third one goes for electric current. Right. Next one is MKSC system. Right, so there are 5 systems, but usually children, first 3 systems are mainly accepted, right? So if I know that, then we have types of quantities and units, base quantities and units. What are the base quantities and units? We have 7 base quantities. You can take your page number 4 and 5. Right, so here we learned 5 system of units. Now in that system of units, what are the quantities in which we measure, right? So what are the 7 base quantities? So take page number 4 and 5, and in that you have all the 4 base quantities. What are they? Starts from mass, length, time, temperature, current, amount of substance, and luminous intensity. You have to learn that tableau column. I will enclose that tableau column in your PDF notes. So copy that in your classbook also, right? Right. Next one we have derived quantities. Note down that quantities and units for the quantities also. Unit of mass is kilogram. Unit of length is meter. SI system only you should know, right? Unit of time is second. Right. Unit of temperature is Kelvin. Unit of amount of substance is mole. Luminous intensity is candela. Current is ampere, right? Here, now coming to the next topic. Before that we have to finish this now. What are derived quantities? What are derived quantities? The quantities which cannot be expressed, with the quantities which could be expressed in terms of base quantities. 7 base quantities we learned now children. So in terms of that 7 base quantities, we can express some quantities. So that quantities only we name it as derived quantities. For example, area we take. What is the formula for area of a square? A square. A means length here. Length. Length into length. Length is the one base quantity, right? So area is not quantity. We express that area in terms of fundamental quantity, right? So such quantities which we can express in terms of other fundamental quantities. So such terms are called as derived quantities, and the units for those quantities are called as derived units. Clear children? Next, we are moving to this rules for significant figures. Right children, this you can have it in the last few segments of your first lesson. Now this tabular column, children, derived quantities, you have so many derived quantities in your book, but I have enclosed only very few in your classwork notes. So learn that alone, that is enough as if your 7th standard is concerned. Okay, right. So next one, rules for significant figures. You know what is significant figures? The number of meaningful digits in a number. So if a number contains both whole number and the decimal number, we have to follow certain rules to decide the number of significant digits, meaningful digits in that number. What are that rules? That is what we are going to learn now. Okay, first one. What is the first rule? In a number, if it is not a zero, all non-zero digits are considered to be significant. Right? So if a number contains 64.32. In this 6432 are non-zeros. They are not zeros. They are numbers. So all these non-zero numbers are considered as significant. Okay, that is a very easy point now. Right, next one. All zeros occurring between non-zero digits are significant. Okay, remember this point. All zeros occurring between non-zero digits. Right, see this example. I have 1 here, I have 5 here, 1005. 1 is a non-zero digit, 5 is a non-zero digit. In these two non-zero digits, between these two non-zero digits, there we have 0. Right? That 0 are considered to be significant. Right? So here, first point what I said, non-zero digits are significant. In that case, you should not think 0 is not significant. If that 0 comes in between non-zero digits, then we have to say that zeros are also significant. Now you see how many significant figures we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 meaningful digits we have in this number. That's why I have written here 4 significant figures. In short form I have written, children. Right. Okay. Now coming to the third point. All zeros to the right of the last non-zero digit are not significant. See the word significant and non-significant. So you should be very careful with that. See, all zeros to the right of the last non-zero digit. For example, if I take a number like this, right? So last we have 0, but that 0 comes after a non-zero digit, which is 5 here. Correct? So this type of 0 which comes in the last after a non-zero digit, they will not be considered as significant. So this 0 becomes insignificant now. So how many significant figures now? 1, 2, 3 alone. Clear, children? Next point. In a digit less than 1. Here first 3 rules we have learned for numbers greater than 1 which will not contain any decimal part. Now we are moving to a number which contains a decimal part. In a digit less than 1, that means what? Decimal numbers. All zeros. Right? Now I will say an example. With that example I will explain the rule. I have an example here, 0.00325. Clear? Is this number less than 1? Yes, there is no 1 here. So it is less than 1, 0 point. Okay, now come here. In a digit less than 1. Okay, this number is less than 1. All zeros, we have zeros here to the right of the decimal point. After the decimal point, right side. How many zeros we have? 1, 2. Okay. And to the left of a non-zero digit. Here, right to the decimal, left to the non-zero digit. What is the non-zero digit here? 3. Right? So that 3, left to that, right to the decimal point are considered to be not significant. So these 2 zeros will be not significant. So how many significant figures here? So these 2 zeros will not be significant. So how many? 1, 2 and 3. So this number will have only 3 significant figures. Here I have written SF means it is significant figure. Right? Next one, the last 5th point. All zeros to the right of a non-zero digit in the decimal part are significant. Here I said right of decimal, left of non-zero are not significant. But here you see, right of a decimal, right, all zeros to the right of a non-zero digit. Here, in the decimal part, here one rule we have learned now. Third rule, if it is going to be a non-decimal number, the last zero will not be significant. That is what we have learned. But if it is going to be a decimal number, the last zero coming after a non-zero digit will be significant. Here this won't be significant, here this will be significant. So how many significant digits we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear, children? So this 5 points, again it will confuse you. Learn, practice it, write and practice it. Then only it will be understood. Now you can learn like this. First 3 points, first 2 points goes for significant. Are significant, significant. Next 2 points goes for not significance. The 5th point goes for significance. Otherwise you can think like this. First 3 points goes for whole numbers, non-decimal numbers. Then next last 2 points goes for decimal numbers. You can plan or you can frame one concept to remember it easily, which fits for your own. So you plan your own strategy to remember all these points. Clear, children? Right. Next one we are moving to the third point, which is called as dimensions. What are dimensions? We have one quantity, for example, mass, length, time. Right? We have so many quantities around us, correct? These quantities, when we express in terms of 3 quantities, mainly, right? Mass, length and time. Mass, for mass we will use m, length we will use L, for time we will use T. When we express one particular quantity using these 3 terms in a bracket, then we call that to be dimensions or dimensional formula. Clear, children? So spelling, let it be clear. First I will say for this, then I come to the other one. What is the dimension for mass? These are not we have learned already. Clear? Right, you can turn your classworks and the concepts of your first lesson, last few pages. Right? Next one. Mass dimension is capital M. So you have to keep right inside a bracket. Then only it will be understood as dimensions. Then we have length. So capital L inside a bracket. Then time. So capital T inside a bracket. Now first 2 we come here. Frequency. Frequency formula is, children, you will learn in your higher classes. 1 by time is called as frequency. What is that? 1 by time. Right? So what is the unit for time? Second. So 1 by time. Give the units 1 by second. Clear? That second is in the denominator. No. So that denominator we will write as, when it goes to the numerator, it will go as -1. So that is what I have written here. Right? So this and all I had explained you before. Now I am just recalling it. So now frequency's unit is, dimension formula is T power -1. Clear, children? So if you can remember this by habit, do it. If you don't remember this, ma'am, it's very difficult for me to remember it. I'll tell you one shortcut method. First, learn the formulas for these quantities. Mass, length and time, it won't have any formula. Directly M and T state. Mass means M, L means length means L, time means T. No other way. But for the other quantities, we can remember the formula. From the formula, you can write the dimensions. Right? So in that way, you can write that. If you have to clear it, go to that previous video. That you can get it clarified. Okay, children? Next one, force. Force is second law of motion. Newton's second law, it says force is equal to F is equal to ma. That formula you can recollect now. So that is what I have written here. For acceleration, what is the dimensional formula? First, what is the basic formula? Acceleration is equal to velocity by time. Right? Velocity's dimension formula is Lt power -1. velocity by time, again one another. So that formula will get changed to LT power minus 2. Right? So velocity's formula is LT power minus 1. Right? So now you come to this force formula. Force formula is mass F is equal to mass into acceleration. So for mass you will have M, acceleration no, LT power minus 2, which is here. Right? So frequency I told, mass, force, mass, length, time, velocities, everything is described now. Children, now at this time it will be little difficult to understand these concepts. Right? But when you practice it, as you learn it continuously, it will be very easy for you. Right? So first write out, I will say the formula again, basic formulas. Frequency is 1 by time. Force is mass into acceleration, F is equal to ma. So these are not, doesn't have any formulas, right? Velocity, displacement by time. That is what I have written here. Displacement means length, no. So length by time. So by time means power will be minus 1. I told here. So it is 1 by time. So 1 by time. Time comes in the denominator means it will go as minus 1, right? Same here. Velocity is equal to length, displacement by time. For displacement you will have length and by time you will have minus 1. So that is why you will have LT power minus 1. Acceleration is velocity by time. So note down this, children. So from this 7 quantities around dimension formula will be asked for your forthcoming examinations. Okay children. Next we have branches of mechanics. This flow chart is in your book, page number 13, I think. 1-3. So take that and see, I have written in a very shorter form here. We have 5 branches of mechanics here. So pause the video, take the book, page number 13 and return to the video. Right? Next one. What is the first branch? Relativistic mechanics. Second one is quantum mechanics. Third one is rigid body mechanics. Fourth one is deformable body mechanics. Then fluid mechanics. Children, just because of the space management here on the board I have written in short form. So you please don't intelligently write in short form in examination. Okay. So as it is in the book, as I given the notebooks, learn it and write full form. Okay. So what are the 5 branches of mechanics? Relativistic mechanics, quantum mechanics, rigid body mechanics, deformable body mechanics and fluid mechanics. In that we are concentrated, in our lessons we are concentrated on rigid body mechanics only. That rigid body mechanics is divided into 2 types. What are they? Statics and dynamics. This dynamics is divided into 2 types. What are they? Kinematics and kinetics. And children, I am making it easier for you. No need to learn the definitions. Names alone is enough. Okay? Definitions leave it. Right? So what are the concepts? Relativistic mechanics, quantum mechanics, rigid body mechanics, deformable, say along with me, deformable body mechanics and fluid mechanics. Then that rigid body mechanics is divided into statics and dynamics. Dynamics is divided into kinematics and kinetics. So flow chart alone learn. From this I will ask different few questions. Okay. Understand and learn. Right. Next one. We have certain important terms in mechanics. So that is what we are going to learn now. I have a shortened only 5 terms for you. So what is the first one? Distance. How do we give symbol for distance? D. Sometimes we will give as L, length. Anyway we can measure it, symbolize it. What is its unit? Meter. In short form I have written it as M. Small m, children. Capital M if I write, that goes for mass. Small m goes for unit of length. So entirely it is different. Be very alert. Okay. Then speed. What is the formula for speed? Distance by time. Excuse me, sir. Speed formula is distance by time taken. What is the unit for it? Distance, meter. For time, second. that time comes in denominator. Just now here I told you if it comes in denominator, you will get power as -1. So this positive power goes up as -1. Clear children? Next one, displacement. Displacement symbol is small s. Here speed symbol is capital S. Okay, here I have not written, but in your notes I have given it clearly, right? So displacement symbol is small s. Its unit is also meter, right? Next one, velocity. Velocity formula is displacement by time, s by t. What is its unit? Meter per second. Okay. Then we are moving to acceleration. Acceleration formula is velocity by time, v by t. A is equal to v by t. Here velocity symbol is v, small v, and acceleration symbol is a, small a. A is equal to v by t. Here what is the unit? V for velocity it is meter per second. Then again we have per second. So that will join together and will give you m s power -2. Don't read like that. But we have to read like this as meter per second square. How we have to read? Meter. This minus we have to read as per second square. Right children? This is what I have written in this children. Now you can call it like this. Right? For this, see here. Length I have written no. Here we have meter alone. Meter stands for length. Here velocity you see, meter per second, no unit, right? What is meter? It measures length, no. So for velocity we can write first L. Okay, per second. Second stands for time, no. So that time power -1. So if you remember the unit, you can write the dimension formula. Right, then comes with acceleration. Acceleration unit is meter per second square. Meter is length. For second we have time -2, power -2, here also power -2. So easily you can call it different concepts children. So it depends on how you understand and learn. Okay. Now we have one point here. I have underlined these two concepts in one column and these three concepts in another column. Why you know children? These two are scalar quantities. These three are vector quantities. What are scalar and vectors? Recollect all the points, come on. Scalars are the quantities which will have magnitude only. Magnitude means what? Numerical value, a number. If a quantity have a number value alone, then that type of quantities are called as scalar quantities. Quantities which have both magnitude and direction are called as vector quantities. Here these two, distance and speed, will not have any direction. It will have only values. So these quantities are called as scalars. So these three quantities, they have both magnitude and direction. So these three are called as vector quantities. So that's why I have underlined like that. So question can come like this. Pick up the following. Pick up the vector quantity from the following. So group of quantities I can give. So from that you have to pick in which option A or option B where the vector quantities are there. Vector quantities means what will be there? Displacement, velocity and acceleration. This is how questions will be framed. Okay children. Now coming to your second lesson. Third lesson. Laws of motion. Right? How many laws Newton had given? Great scientist had given us 3 laws. What are they? And one happy thing I am going to tell you now. We are not going to learn the statement of laws. Happy no. We are going to learn what is being explained in each law. Right? First law says that what is the need for force for a body to change the state. But what is the law? First know it. Remember it. Every body continues to be in its state unless it is compelled by an external force. Till a force acts on a body, it will not change its state. That is the first law, Newton's first law. So first law, what does it explain? It explains the need for force to change the state of a body. What is the importance of force to apply on a body to change its state? That is what is explained by first law of motion, Newton's first law. And it also explains two other concepts. They are called as mass and inertia. Just know the terms alone, no need to go into deeper. First law explains mass and inertia. Okay, so what does it explain in a very concentrated way? It explains the need of force to change the state of a body. Remember this, right? Next one, second law we have. Second law explains the relationship between, what is second law statement? Come on, tell me. The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied and it acts in the direction of the force. Confuse you only? No. But just know this. It explains the relationship between force and momentum. Second law clearly says how force is dependent on momentum and how momentum is related to force. So these two terms, remember second law. Force and momentum means second law. Mass and inertia means first law. What is the equation for second law? F is equal to ma. Ma. Not like that. Mass into acceleration. Here I have written m in the bracket here. What does it stand for? M stands for unit of force, Newton. Okay? So that is why I have written units in the bracket everywhere. So if you want to know down the units for every concept, you can zoom the video, zoom it and see and note down the units for every quantity. This Newton is unit for force, not for these two. Okay? Next. And it also explains, what did I say? Second law explains the relationship between force and momentum. No. It also explains some other concepts. It is called as impulse. Impulse symbol is J, capital J. And what is the formula for impulse? J is equal to F into T. What is F? Force. What is T? Time. What is the unit of impulse? Newton second. Force unit is Newton, time unit is second. Okay, now coming to this impulse have the unit Newton second. Similarly, momentum will also have the unit Newton second. Both momentum and impulse have the same units. What is the same unit? Newton second. Okay, children. Next one. Coming to the third law. What is third law statement? For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now just know it. No need to write as content here, right? So it explains the relationship between action and reaction. How do we apply a force on a body? How that body replies for the force. So that is what is explained by Newton's third law. What is its equation? Fa is equal to minus Fb. So equal, A is one body, B is another body, right? F is the force. Opposite reaction I told no, equal and opposite means it refers to minus reaction. Okay, so remember very clearly these key terms you need to understand. Need for force is explained by first law. Relationship between force and momentum explained by second law. Action and reaction third law. Now coming to the terms, mass and inertia first law, momentum, force and impulse second law. Clear children? So remember these concepts, very important. Now as of this your annual examination, I am not going to ask the definitions. Clear? So no need to memorize, just understand the concept and mark the important concepts. Right children? Now coming to this law of conservation, I have written in shorter form. Conservation of momentum. So what is conservation of momentum? When two bodies collide, there will be some momentum. Okay, what is momentum? Momentum is mass into velocity. That is called as momentum. Okay, when two bodies collide, there will be some initial momentum before colliding. Before colliding, they will have mass into velocity, one value. After colliding, after hitting on each other, it will have some other value for momentum. When there is no force, external force acting on it, right? When there is no other external forces, when two bodies collide alone, right? When one body is colliding with other body, two balls, take example as two balls. right? So when they hit on each other, it will have initial momentum and final momentum. That total initial momentum will be equal to total final momentum. Okay, that is what is explained by law of conservation of momentum. Now, as of now, no need to learn the full entire statement. Just know the equation. What is the equation for moment law of conservation of momentum? M1 U1, M2 U2 is equal to M1 V1 and M2 V2. What is M1 U1? Initial momentum of the first object. Let it be ball, first ball. M2 U2. Initial momentum of the second ball. When these two are added, it gives the total momentum of total initial momentum. Now we come to this. M1 V1 final momentum of the first ball, M2 V2 final momentum of the second ball. So when they are added, final momentum of both the balls. So this is total initial momentum is equal to total final momentum. When this will be true? When the forces between the two balls or two objects alone are considered, right? It won't be external forces are not taken into account here. If external forces are taken into account, then this won't work out. So keep this in your mind. In the absence of external force, that is how your last statement will start. Okay, children, first know the equation. M1 U1 is equal to M2 U2 is equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2. Clear? Right, next one. We are moving to this solid and fluid mechanics. Next lesson. First, we have to know what is stress and what is strain. What is stress formula? Stress formula is, we have some symbols for stress. I have given in the notes but not have written on the board. Stress formula is stress is equal to force by area. Stress formula is sigma is equal to F by A. Right? So stress is equal to force by area. Its unit. Which unit? Whose unit? Stress unit is Newton per meter square. Newton per meter square. Stress is equal to force by area and its unit is Newton per meter square. Now we have strain. What is strain? It is the ratio between, ratio means we have to divide. It is the ratio between change in dimension by original dimension. Okay. So here this is also change in dimension, this is also dimension. So these dimension means what, children? It may be anything. Length, area, volume, anything. If this is going to be length means this also will be length. If this is going to be area means this also will be area. So these two are same quantities only, no. So they will get cancelled. So we will not have any unit for strain. Okay, children. Next one we are moving to properties of solids, liquids and gases. Now in page 55 I think in your book we have a 55. Take that page. We have a tableau column which will show the solids, liquids and gases properties. We have so many in that tableau column, but I have selected only few for it, few for your present examination. That alone you will learn now. Okay. We have taken rigidity, compressibility and interparticular force, and we have regarding shape. First one, rigidity. Rigidity means what? That solid nature, a packed nature. So which will be very rigid? Solid will be highly rigid. Then comes liquid and then comes gas. So solid will have greater rigidity. That's why I have used the greater than symbol. Solids will have greater rigidity than liquid and liquid will have more rigidity than gas. Now coming to this compressibility. Compressibility means what? We can press it. Right? We can compress. What is which we can compress more? Gas only we can compress. Because we see huge amount of gas, we can just fill it in the gas cylinders, no, our cooking cylinders, LPG gas, right? So we can compress that inside one cylinder, right? Even so many examples we can give for this, right? Your auto cylinders, the gases can be compressed, pressed in one particular container, right? But liquids we cannot compress very negligible only, very lesser amount only you can compress the liquids. Solids we cannot compress at all. If you take a big stone, if I press it like this, can we make it in a very thinner way? No. That is called compressibility. Then we have interparticular force, where every substance are made of atoms and molecules. I told no. So between those atoms, we will have some force, right? That force will be greater for solids than liquids, and liquids force particles force will be greater than for gases. So this order you know it. So based on this question will be asked. So among these three states, solids, liquids and gases, liquids and gases will take the shape of the container. For example, if I take water in a water bottle, that water takes the shape of the water bottle. And even the gas also, right? Our body perfumes, body sprays and all we have, right? So gases are filled in it, right? This perfumes will come in different shapes. A smaller one, bigger one, curved one, stylish one, whatever may be the shape, the gases and liquid takes the shape of the container, right? But solids, they have a strong definite shape. Clear, children? Like these four concepts alone you learn, and along with this, I have added diffusion. There is one property in that same tablet called diffusion we have. Diffusion means spreading nature, which can spread very easily, children. For example, if there is a gas leak at your home, easily you can smell it, right? From kitchen it will spread out in all directions. Take for another example. For making puja, we will ignite this incense sticks now. Udvati we say in Tamil, right? So that smell, that udvati may be in puja room or in the place where we had ignited it, we had lighted it, right? From that place to the place where you are, it will spread out and come. So that process is called as diffusion. So gases will diffuse more, but liquid, it will also diffuse but less than the gas. If I pour water suddenly, it can't stand there itself. What it will do? It will flow from one place to another place. So that process will be taking place, but it is lesser than gas. Okay. But solids, it will not diffuse at all. And it will take more time to diffuse. Next one we have few formulas we have here along with Stokes law formula. Based on these formulas, well, sums I had given in your notes. So that formula alone I have given here, right? So these sums we have already done and we have taught the classes. So I have done only 4 sums in your notes. Very simple sums only. Practice that. Okay. Stokes law, we have on Stokes law. Remember, children. In that Stokes law we have force is equal to 6 pi eta a v. I have told you this already. This n is called as n. We have to elongate, we have to extend. F is equal to 6 pi eta a v. Okay, this force is viscous force. 6 is a number, pi is also a number. Eta is called as coefficient of viscosity. You turn the pages of your book, Stokes law. You can see this. Eta is coefficient of viscosity. A is that radius of that sphere. And v is the terminal velocity. So this is the equation for Stokes law. Question can come like this. What is the equation for Stokes law? So 4 options will be given. Okay? Right. So and we have an hydrostatics part in that same lesson. We have pressure is equal to H rho G. This is one, what is this? Like this we have to write rho. H rho G. P stands for pressure, S stands for height, rho stands for density and G stands for acceleration due to gravity. And its unit is, pressure's unit is Newton per meter square. Force unit is Newton. And we have density is equal to mass by volume. Density's unit is kilogram per meter cube. And we have one another thing, relative density. RD I have written. It is called as relative density. It is equal to density of the substance by density of water. right? If you have any substance, its density divided by density of water will give you the relative density. See, this is also density, this is also density. So units will get cancelled. So relative density will not have any unit. So in this content, I have taught you two concepts which will not have any unit. What are they? Here I have written strain, where it is stress and strain. Here strain will not have any unit, and here relative density also will not have any unit, because they are the ratio of similar quantities. So that's why they will not have any unit. So first 10 concepts we will cover today. Next 10 concepts are on the way in your part 2 video. So finish the classwork. Be ready for the next class. Thank you, students.